Have you ever heard the story of the two frogs, Fred and George? It's a powerful lesson about how we react to change, and it might just change your perspective on things. Once upon a time, in a cozy garden, lived these two frogs. Fred was the adventurous type, always full of energy. George, on the other hand, was pretty chill, happy to just go with the flow. But one afternoon, while exploring, they both accidentally hopped into a big tank of water. But something was wrong. The water wasn't cool and refreshing. It was warm, almost hot. Fred immediately panicked. "George, this water is getting hotter. We have to get out of here now." But George, ever the relaxed one, just blinked. It's not that bad, Fred. It'll probably cool down. Let's just hang out for a bit." But the water didn't cool down. Slowly, degree by degree, it got hotter. Fred, feeling the dangerous heat rise, started to scramble. He leaped, pushing off the slippery sides with all his might. He jumped and splashed again and again, his little legs burning with effort. But each time he slid right back down into the increasingly scalding water. George just watched his friend's frantic struggle. "Fred, what are you doing? You're wasting your energy. We're stuck. We should just accept it. Maybe it won't get any worse." And so, true to his nature, George decided to adapt. He found a spot that felt a little less hot and just settled in, trying to get used to it. He told himself it wasn't so bad, that he could handle it. He stopped fighting. Meanwhile, Fred was exhausted. His jumps were getting weaker. His muscles screamed in protest, but he refused to give up. With every failure, a little spark of defiance grew inside him. He remembered old stories of frogs who leaped to freedom against all odds. He held onto that tiny bit of hope, ignoring the pain and his friend telling him to just accept his fate. He closed his eyes, gathered every last ounce of strength he had left, and launched himself upwards one final time. It was a desperate, ragged jump. But this time, fueled by sheer willpower, his fingertips brushed the rim. He scrambled, hooked his legs over the edge, and with one last massive effort, pulled himself out. He collapsed onto the cool grass, panting and shaking. He looked back at the tank. Steam was now rising from the water. George was still inside, floating. The heat had become unbearable, but George had been adapting for so long, accepting his slow demise, that he no longer had the strength or the will to fight. He had settled into his comfort zone, and that comfort zone had become a trap. Fred watched, heartbroken, as his friend, who decided to simply live with the rising temperature, ultimately succumbed to it. This story is a classic allegory for what we call the boiling frog syndrome. It's a warning against passively accepting a bad situation just because it gets worse gradually. Fred's story teaches us a few crucial lessons. First, don't settle for discomfort. A problem that seems manageable at first can become fatal if you ignore it. Second, listen to your instincts. If something feels wrong, don't just brush it off. And most importantly, it highlights the difference between adapting and taking action. There are times to adapt, but there are also times to fight. Fred failed over and over, but he never gave up. His persistence saved him. Sometimes that one last desperate attempt is the one that makes all the difference. So, what are the slowly rising temperatures in your own life? What are you getting used to that you really shouldn't be? It's a tough question, but an important one. Recognizing those situations and finding the courage to jump, even when it's hard, is what truly leads to growth and freedom. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that makes you think. See you next time.